The phone lit up at 2:11 a.m. with the name he had tried to bury under work, drills, and empty nights. Harper. Lorenzo Vitale was already moving before the second buzz. He snatched the call and pressed the screen to his ear. "Harper?" Her breath came quick and sharp. "Lorenzo, I'm in labor." He froze for half a heartbeat. 8 months since the divorce decree. 8 months since he had walked out of a courthouse, jaws clenched, pretending it didn't matter. 8 months of pretending he had no right to wonder where she slept, who drove her to the doctor, whether she ever looked at the door and wished it would open. "Where are you?" His voice stayed even. Training did that. The panic went into a box. "What address?" She swallowed a sound, half pain, half fear. "My apartment, 4th floor. I called an ambulance, but—" Her breath hitched. "Someone's in the hall. They knocked a minute ago. They didn't say anything. They just waited." Lorenzo grabbed the gun under his nightstand, the spare magazine, the keys to the armored SUV. Holster on, jacket on. "Send me your location. Don't open the door." Another breath, broken by a contraction. "It's your baby." The words were soft and raw, like she hated that she had to say them now, like she had wanted to say them another way. He was out the door and down the private elevator before the line disconnected. The garage smelled like oil and cold metal. The SUV roared to life. The gates lifted. The night air cut through the city, clean and hard. He ran lights where he could, slowed where cameras were fixed, and threaded empty streets with a focus he hadn't felt in months. His hands were steady, palms dry, every sense turned to the root and the threat. He called one person. "Sophia, up." His sister's voice came fast awake. What happened? Harper, labor, possible tail on her building. He took the FDR on-ramp at speed. "Wake Collins. I'm taking Harper to her." "On it. I'll sweep the apartment. Meet you on the FDR near 23rd. Back up in 10. "Keep it tight," he said. He didn't say please. He didn't need to. The phone buzzed again. A text hit, a pin drop of Harper's building. Then a message. "They won't leave the hall." I hear 2 voices. I push the chair under the knob. Contractions 5 minutes apart. "I'm 3 minutes out," he typed. "Stay where you are. Do not make any noise." He cut the headlights as he turned onto her block. He parked across from a hydrant, nose out for a fast exit. He scanned the street. One sedan idling near the corner. No plates on the front bumper. A figure in the passenger seat texting. He moved through the building's vestibule with keys Harper had never asked him to return. He'd told himself he'd mail them. He hadn't. The stairwell stank of bleach and dust. He climbed fast and silent, placing each foot on the edge of each step to avoid the hollow creak in the middle. On the landing outside the 4th floor he heard it, a low male voice, then a hiss as if he had been warned. Another voice near the elevator. He drew and moved. The first man stood with his back to Harper's door. Hoodie, gloves, a phone in his hand with the screen dimmed. When the man looked up, Lorenzo saw him clock the angle of his shoulders and the set of his jaw, and then it was too late. He shoved the man's wrist into the wall, phone clattering, and pressed the barrel under his jaw. The second man by the elevator moved fast and reached for a pocket. Lorenzo fired once. A clean shot into the tile beside the man's foot. The crack in the hall was brutal. The man froze, hands up. "No noise," Lorenzo said without raising his voice. He had the eyes of someone who didn't need to repeat himself. "Walk to the stairs. Both of you. Hands where I can see them." The first man's breath sped up. "We're just maintenance. The building doesn't hire maintenance at 2 in the morning with burner phones." Lorenzo's gaze didn't leave them. "Down the stairs." They obeyed. He waited long enough to hear the stairwell door bang open 1 flight down, then moved to Harper's door and tapped softly. "It's me." A pause. The scrape of a chair. The lock turned. The door opened 3 inches and then wider, and she stood there, hair damp at the temples, tank top and loose pants, face pale and fierce all at once. He hadn't let himself look at her in months. He had missed the tilt of her chin when she was set on something. He had missed the way her eyes softened when she let him in. He had missed everything that hurt to miss. Don't, she said, as if she could read the softness in his face. Just help me. He nodded once. Bag? By the couch. She took a breath and gripped the doorframe as a contraction hit. He stepped close, set his palm at the small of her back, firm and steady, counting with her, breath by breath, until the wave eased. She sagged, shook out her hands, and nodded. They moved. He lifted her hospital bag, tucked a folder of prenatal records under his arm, and guided her into the hall. He scanned both directions. Clear. He held her against his side and took the stairs, one arm around her waist, the other free. Outside, the cold made her gasp. He seated her in the SUV, buckled her in, checked her eyes. You with me? She nodded. I'm with you. He drove. One hand on the wheel, the other finding her hand on her thigh. Her fingers were cold. He wrapped them in his and didn't let go. Contractions? He asked. 4 minutes, maybe 3. They're strong. She swallowed. I was going to call Dr. Collins next. Then someone knocked. They didn't say anything. They just stood there. And I thought maybe this was the night they were going to try. Try what? Make me disappear. She stared out the windshield, jaw tight. You told me to stay away from your world. I did. I changed schedules. I used ride shares under other names. I kept appointments off my phone. Someone knew anyway. He kept his voice careful. How long have you known? That I'm in labor? An hour. She shot him a look, a flash of anger inside fear. That the baby is yours? Since the second I saw that first scan. He almost smiled. It was small and gone quick. I meant how long have you known they were watching? Her throat worked. Weeks. Something was off. Packages I didn't order at the door. Calls with no one there. A reset link to my patient portal I didn't request. He filed it all away. We're not going to a public hospital. Collins has a private floor. Off-books intake. I already called my sister. She's clearing your place now and meeting us near 23rd for an escort. Harper gave a short laugh that held no humor. Of course she is. The words landed like a bruise, not because they mocked him, but because they reminded him why they were here like this. He hadn't trusted Harper with the truth when he should have. He had taken away her choice and called it protection. He had signed divorce papers and called it love. A delivery truck swerved into their lane. He cut around it and took the next exit to the FDR. The city slid by in blocks of quiet light and empty piers. In the rear view, a compact sedan changed lanes when he did. He watched it. It held back, then crept closer. He hit the speed dial and put Sophia on speaker. I'm on the FDR southbound, he said. 2 minutes from 23rd, one tail. Possibly the same sedan from the corner. I see you, Sophia said. Black SUV, gray sedan, 2 cars back. I've got eyes from the overpass. I'll drop in behind them. Harper pressed a fist to her side as another contraction rolled through her. He lowered his voice. Look at me. She did. He counted for her again. She breathed through it, never breaking eye contact. When it passed, she squeezed his fingers. She didn't say thank you. She didn't have to. I wasn't going to call you, she said, quieter now. I didn't want to need you. You called. He made it a fact, not a victory, because they found me. Her voice trembled, then steadied. And because I didn't want to do this alone. He nodded. You're not alone. Silence sat between them for a mile. Not easy, not gentle, but not the silence of strangers. He caught the gray sedan pulling closer again. He saw the passenger lift a phone, maybe to snap a shot of the plates. Sophia's bike slid into his side mirror, black helmet, dark visor. She cut in behind the sedan, matching their speed, and spoke into her mic. They're making a call. I'll spook them. Don't engage, he said. Relax. I'm just playing shadow. Harper shifted, bracing her feet on the floorboard. How long can I wait to push? Until Collins tells you, he said. And we get you to her. A streak of pain crossed her face. He hated how it looked there. Does it hurt too much? He asked, uselessly, because of course it did. She shot him an almost amused look. Does it look like it doesn't? He huffed once. Fair. Her eyes softened for the first time since he'd stepped into her doorway. You always did that. What? Make me laugh when I wanted to fight. He let the weight of that sit for a second. You can fight me later. I won't run. He meant it. She heard it. Her shoulders lowered a fraction. The phone buzzed with an incoming call. Dr. Collins. He put it on speaker. Collins. I'm open and staffed, she said, voice calm. Basement entrance off 30th. 2 nurses, 1 tech. Private elevator is cleared. Beds prepped. How close is she? Active labor, he said. 3 to 4 minutes apart. Her water hasn't... Harper inhaled sharply and grabbed his wrist. Stop sign. Stop talking. She clenched, eyes wide, a low sound leaving her throat. Breathe with me, he said. Now. He counted. She followed. He kept the SUV steady even as chaos seized the world in the passenger seat. The contraction eased. She sagged. He felt her hand shake in his. He didn't let go. Water may go soon, Collins said, reading the silence. Get here now. 10 out, he answered. Make it 6. The sedan behind them changed lanes and sped up. Another bike appeared 2 cars ahead, then slowed, boxing them in behind a delivery van. The sedan tucked in behind him. Sophia cursed in his ear. 2 bikes, 1 sedan. This is a move. Harper turned her head, eyes sharp. What? Stay with me. His voice was low again. He checked the right shoulder, clear for now. Sophia's bike moved to the sedan's flank. I can peel one. Don't, he said. I'll shake them. He dropped a gear and shot left, then right, threading between a taxi and a van. The bikes adjusted, angling in. The sedan mirrored him like a shadow. Harper gasped and grabbed the handle above the door. Contraction, she said through her teeth. Lorenzo. He reached across the console and set his palm on her belly, firm and calm. I've got you. For a second, there was nothing but the road and the pulse under his hand, strong and urgent and real. His child. Their child. He had missed the first kick, the first scan, the first time she had heard the heartbeat. He would not miss this. The bike on his left edged closer, inches from his door. A rider with a dark visor staring in. The rider tapped 2 fingers against his helmet like a greeting. Lorenzo didn't return it. He braked hard, let the bike overshoot, then swung right behind it and accelerated, using the bigger vehicle as a shield. The sedan tried to keep up. Sophia slipped between them and clipped the sedan's mirror. It shattered, spraying glass. The sedan swerved wide. Go, Sophia snapped. I'll slow them down. Harper's head dropped back against the seat as another contraction built. She squeezed his hand. Lorenzo, my back. Press into me. He eased her closer with a steady pull and kept the SUV arrowed between lanes. In through your nose, out slow. She did it. He watched sweat gather at her hairline and hated that he couldn't take a single second of it for her. He had chosen a war that made this their reality. He couldn't undo what came before, but he could choose what came next. Traffic opened for a stretch. He took it. The exit for 30th flashed ahead. Almost there, he said. Harper's breath hitched. She shifted in the seat and made a sound that was half shock, half disbelief. She looked down, then at him. My water, she whispered. It just broke. Fluid pooled under her. The smell was clean and new and immediate. There was no denying any part of this now. He took the exit. The first bike cut in front again. The second moved to block the ramp. The gray sedan slid across lanes to seal the rear. Lights from the river threw pale stripes through the windshield. The city felt close and far at the same time. Sophia's voice sharpened. They're boxing you in. He tightened his grip on the wheel with one hand and kept the other wrapped around Harper's fingers. He could feel her pulse there, quick and fierce. Lorenzo, she said, meeting his eyes. Fear was there, but so was something else, trust or the memory of it. Don't let them take me. They won't, he said. The front bike slowed to a crawl. The back sedan eased forward until its grille filled the mirror. The second bike rode up on his right, inches from the door, visor turning toward Harper. He saw the underground garage entrance to Dr. Collins's building just ahead, down a tight ramp behind a steel gate. He also saw that he would have one chance to reach it clean. He lowered his voice so only Harper heard him. "When I move, hold on to me and keep your head down." She nodded, knuckles white in his hand, jaw set for the next contraction that was already building. He flexed his fingers around the wheel and studied the distance. 1 breath, 2, 3. The bike on the right tapped his door with the edge of a boot, a taunt, a dare. Harper sucked in a breath, eyes wide. Another one's coming. The light ahead shifted. The gate at the ramp began to lift. Lorenzo calculated the angle, the space, the speed he needed to thread the opening before the bikes closed, before the sedan pinned them to the median, before the next contraction stole Harper's breath. He looked at her once more. "Stay with me." Her palm flattened over his hand on her belly. "I'm here," she whispered, voice tight and sure all at once. He dropped the gear, turned the wheel, and went for the gap as the box around them snapped shut. The ramp swallowed the SUV as the steel gate rose just enough for the front bumper to clear. Lorenzo shot under it and braked hard next to a marked door with a Red Cross decal. The gate clanged shut behind them. The bikes were forced to stop outside. The gray sedan skidded. A horn blared. Metal hit metal. Then nothing but the echo of their engine in the concrete bay. Harper let out a shaky breath and pressed a hand to her belly. "It's still moving," she said, voice tight. "We're okay." "We're in," he answered, already unbuckling. He rounded the hood and opened her door. The sharp scent of amniotic fluid reached him first. He slid an arm behind her back. "Lean on me." The service door flew open. A woman in navy scrubs stepped out with a wheelchair and a clipboard tucked under her arm. Brown hair in a tight bun. Calm eyes that moved fast. Dr. Avery Collins. "Basement intake," she said, looking from Harper's face to the wet stain on her pants. "How far apart?" 3 minutes, Harper said. "Maybe less." "Any bleeding besides your water breaking?" "No." "Good." Collins looked at Lorenzo. "You did well. Park there. Leave the engine if you want. Keys with me. Let's move." They didn't waste time. Lorenzo lifted Harper into the chair. She exhaled slow through a contraction and reached for his hand. He gave it to her. Collins keyed a code and pulled them through the door into a windowless corridor painted the color of eggshell and quiet. No waiting room chatter, no bright signs, no patient directories. Just clean floors, 2 closed doors, and a red line on the baseboard leading to a private elevator with no public buttons. A tall nurse met them at the elevator with a rolling vital signs cart. "I'm Tasha," she said. "We're ready for you." The elevator doors closed. Collins swiped a badge and pressed a hidden switch. The car moved. "Harper, I'm going to ask you a set of quick questions," Collins said, voice low and even. "Any complications during pregnancy?" "No." "Any allergies?" "Penicillin." "Any history of high blood pressure?" "No." "Who's your support person?" Harper glanced at Lorenzo. He held her gaze. She didn't look away. "Him," she said. The elevator opened into a small suite. 2 rooms and a nurse's station. One room held a birthing bed, a warmer, monitors, and cabinets. The other looked like a regular hospital room. There were no windows here either, but soft ceiling lights and a digital clock kept the place from feeling like a bunker. It felt controlled, safe. Tasha rolled Harper into the birthing room and helped her transfer to the bed. Collins snapped on gloves. "Monitors first, then exam." Lorenzo stood at the head of the bed while they strapped sensors around Harper's belly and clipped a pulse ox to her finger. A screen came alive with a steady fetal heart rate. The sound filled the room, quick and strong. Harper closed her eyes when she heard it. A small sound escaped her, one he hadn't heard since before the courthouse. He swallowed against the tightness in his throat and focused. Another contraction hit. Harper gripped the rail with one hand and Lorenzo's fingers with the other. He counted her through it, breath for breath, keeping his voice level. When it passed, she blinked away moisture and nodded. She didn't say she was scared. She didn't have to. "Tasha, IV," Collins said. "Harper, I'm going to check your cervix. You'll feel pressure." Harper nodded. Lorenzo shifted to the side, giving doctors space but staying where she could see him. He learned the rhythm quickly. Question, instruction, action, reassurance. No wasted words, no panic. Collins finished the exam and stripped off her gloves. You're 5 centimeters. Water released cleanly. Baby's head is engaged. Heart rate is good. She met Harper's eyes. You're doing this. Harper exhaled, shoulders dropping. Okay. Collins turned to Lorenzo. We'll keep it here. Quiet, controlled. We're off the grid. No ED intake, no registration on the main server. I need to know who's following you. 2 bikes and a sedan, he said. Sophia's tailing them. They were testing us, not pushing a hit. They knew where to find her apartment, Collins said. That's not random. We tightened her file months ago. She got a reset link to her patient portal, he said. She didn't request it. Collins' jaw set. Show me the phone. Harper nodded at her purse. He found it and handed it to Collins. The doctor unlocked a laptop on the side counter and connected Harper's phone with a cable, fingers moving with practiced speed. I mirrored your portal account to a local sandbox when we set this up, she said. If someone shipped a reset, we'll see the path. Tasha hung an IV bag and slid the catheter into Harper's hand in one smooth motion. You'll feel a pinch. Harper barely flinched. She breathed and watched the monitor. The phone on Lorenzo's hip buzzed. Sophia. He picked up. Status? Bikes peeled off toward the river, she said, engine noise in the background. Sedan circled twice and parked. 2 men got out and made a call from a payphone like it's 1999. I have plates. They're bad. Stay in motion. Don't bring them back here. I'm not an idiot, she said without heat. I'm heading to Harper's apartment. I'll pull footage in the stairwell and outside her door. I'll text you if I find anything. You good? We're in, he said. He didn't say more because he didn't have to. He ended the call and looked back at Harper. She watched him like she was trying to balance 2 truths that didn't fit. The man who pushed her out and the man who was here now, steady as a door frame while the world shook. You okay? He asked. She nodded. It hurts, but I'm okay. You don't have to talk to me, he said. You just have to breathe. Her mouth flicked at the corner. Bossy. Accurate. Another contraction rolled in faster than the last. She closed her eyes and breathed through clenched teeth. He counted again. At 7, her grip found his forearm and held. He moved closer, palm at the base of her spine, steady pressure where Tasha pointed. The contraction eased. Harper let out a breath that almost sounded like a laugh. That helps. Tell me where, he said. There. She guided his hand. He kept it there. Collins didn't stop working while they talked. She ran logs, captured snapshots, and opened a terminal window. Here it is, she said after 2 minutes. A password reset from an IP that resolves to a residential ISP in the Lower East Side. That's not our system. That's someone hitting your portal. Harper opened her eyes. Can you see who? Not directly, Collins said, but the request was made from a device that also touched your building's Wi-Fi last week. I can see the MAC address, same fingerprint. Whoever did this has been in your hallway, at least close enough to sniff signal. Lorenzo's jaw tightened. The super? Maybe, Collins said, or a neighbor with access. Did anyone new move in near you? Apartment 4B, Harper said. 3 weeks ago, a couple. They keep to themselves. Collins typed. 4B's leaseholder name? I don't know. Lorenzo's phone buzzed again. Sophia, your super is Ethan Ward. Ran his plate last month on a separate issue. He has 2 burner accounts that ping towers near Marcello's warehouse. Not the mastermind, but dirty. Another text followed. Pulling footage now. You had 2 men at your door for 6 minutes before Lorenzo arrived. They spoke once into a sleeve mic. Not amateurs. Lorenzo read it, then put the phone down and looked at Harper. Your super has contacts with a rival. Harper's face went still. Not surprised. Just tired of being right about the danger. So he let them in. He let them know when to come, Lorenzo said, but someone else is paying him. Collins closed the laptop. We'll lock down the network on our end. Your file is now only local, not cloud synced. No one outside this suite has access. If they were hoping to intercept updates, they won't find anything. Harper nodded. Thank you. You're safe here, Collins said. She meant it like a promise, not a slogan. We'll keep labor progressing. Pain management is your choice. I can offer strategies now, epidural later if you want it. Harper looked at Lorenzo, then back at the doctor. Not yet. I want to see if I can keep going. Good, Collins said. We'll reassess. Tasha, fluids are running. Wide open, Tasha said. Fetal heart tones steady. Harper's breath steadied for a few minutes, then spiked again. The pattern shifted, shorter gaps, stronger waves. She clenched the bed rail and then his wrist. He braced his stance and took the force without moving away. Talk to me, he said, voice even. What do you need? Pressure, she said. He pressed where she guided. Between contractions, she looked up at him. There was sweat at her hairline and stubbornness in her eyes. Why the divorce, Lorenzo? Not the public reason. The real one. He didn't look away. A file landed on my desk. Photos. A list of shell companies connected to a team that had your name on a wall. A message came with it. Sign the divorce, serve it publicly, or you leave the courthouse in a body bag within a week. Her jaw tightened. And you decided for me. I thought it would take the target off you. It put a different one on me, she said quietly. A softer one. The one you put on me when you left me alone. He took it. He didn't defend himself. I was wrong. She swallowed. You could have told me. I should have told you, he said. He kept his voice steady. I'm telling you now. I won't make that mistake again. She watched him for a long second. Another contraction started to build. She let the argument go because the pain didn't give her room to hold it. She gripped his hand. He counted again. When it passed, she nodded once. Then start by telling me everything. Nothing held back. He nodded. After the baby is here and you're stable, I'll show you the file. I'll show you who delivered it. We decide together. Together, she echoed, like the word hurt and healed at the same time. The clock ticked forward. Tasha adjusted the bed, raised Harper's head, and showed Lorenzo how to support Harper's back through the next wave. He did what he was told. He didn't try to control what he didn't understand. He followed instructions. He made himself useful. At the nurse's station, the tech adjusted a camera aimed at the bed to record vitals and events for the internal record. The monitor next to it showed waveform lines and numbers. The baby's heart beat steady, a fast drum under the adult's slower rhythms. Collins returned to the bedside with a small device. I'm going to place a fetal scalp electrode if the signal drops. But right now the external monitor is fine. We'll avoid invasive steps unless necessary. Harper nodded, jaw tightening as another contraction rose. How far? She asked when it eased. Collins checked her again with efficient hands. 6.5. You're progressing. Harper closed her eyes. Okay. A faint click sounded from the ceiling vent. So quiet Lorenzo almost missed it. He looked up. The vent cover was a standard grid screwed into drywall. Dust on the edge. Nothing unusual. But there it was again, a tiny mechanical tick, like a lens focusing. Collins heard it too. She glanced up, then at the tech. Kill all non-essential feeds, she said. Now. The tech's fingers flew. The room dimmed as 2 panels of lights cut to half. The background monitor kept the fetal heart line running, but the camera indicator light on the wall by the clock went dark. The tick came again. Lorenzo stepped onto the rolling stool, braced one foot on the locked bed frame, and reached the vent. He didn't touch it yet. He studied it. If someone had put a sensor there, touching it might trip an alert. Do you see something? Harper asked, breath shallow as another pain built. He kept his voice calm. Could be nothing. Collins moved to a cabinet and took out a small handheld detector. EM sweep, she said, handing it up to him. Slow. He passed the device along the edge of the vent. The display spiked. A faint dot blinked. Not the hospital system. Collins's face didn't change, but her tone did. That's not ours. We're locked down, the tech said, checking another screen. No external Wi-Fi beacon in this suite. Which means it's broadcasting elsewhere, Collins said. Local receiver, short range, someone nearby. Harper's eyes opened. She looked at Lorenzo, then at the ceiling. The contraction took her before she could say anything else. He dropped to the floor, set the detector on the tray, and moved back to her side, one hand sliding to her lower back at the exact spot she had shown him. She breathed through the pain, eyes on his. When the wave eased, he kissed her forehead. It was instinct. He kept it brief and asked for nothing in return. "You're doing this," he said. Her mouth trembled. "Don't leave me." "I'm not going anywhere." Collins stepped to the side door that led to the small hallway and tapped a code. "Tasha, lock the main bay and pull the secondary alarm on silent. No sirens. I want doors sealed and cameras looped to yesterday's feed." "Yes, doctor." Lorenzo glanced at the monitor. Baby still steady. He nodded at Collins. "You want me outside the door?" "I want you here," Collins said. "Your job is Harper. Mine is everything else." He paused, pulled by habit toward threat, then stayed where he was told. He wasn't the only shield in the room. Accepting that felt new. His phone vibrated. Another text from Sophia. "Hall cam shows a small flicker after you took the men to the stairs. Like a jamming or a test. I'm pulling router logs. Also, your super's key fob opened the roof access 30 minutes before the knock." He wasn't in his office. A second message hit. Warehouse chatter on the scanner mentions basement clinic. Someone used those words. How? He lifted his head to the ceiling again. The vent looked the same, but now they knew. Collins pressed a button on the wall intercom. "Security to basement," she said. "Silent approach. Use corridor C. Do not announce." A soft chime answered. No other sound. Harper shifted, wincing. How would they know about this place? "They shouldn't," Collins said. "Only a handful of staff are cleared. Your chart never touched the main system. I used a dummy schedule for your last prenatal." "Someone reset her portal," Lorenzo said, glancing at the laptop. "And someone sniffed the building Wi-Fi." Collins nodded once. "And someone placed a camera in my vent." The monitor ticked another minute forward. The baby's heart stayed steady. Harper's breathing picked up again. She gripped Lorenzo's hand and dragged him closer, almost like she wanted his voice in her ear, not across the room. He went willingly. He spoke to her like there was no one else there. "You're not alone," he said again. "Not now, not for what's next, not after." Her eyes searched his. "Promise." He didn't say, "I promise," lightly. "I promise." Tasha adjusted the IV. "Blood pressure is stable. You're strong," she told Harper. "Keep your shoulders loose." Harper tried. Another contraction built. She breathed, jaw tight, nostrils flaring. She rode it. When it passed, tears ran down the sides of her face into her hair. She didn't wipe them. "I hate that they get any part of this," she said, not to anyone in particular. "They don't get this," Lorenzo said. "They don't get you. They don't get our child. They get nothing." She stared at him for a beat that felt like a decision. "Then we stop letting them decide for us." "We will," he said. "We start now." Collins checked dilation again. 7, she said. "You're moving fast." "Is that good?" Harper asked. "It's progress," Collins said. "Pain will build. You have options." Harper hesitated. "Epidural?" "We can do that," Collins said. "It will take the edge off. It may slow things. Or you can keep going. Your call." Harper looked at Lorenzo. "What do you think?" He shook his head. "I think you decide. I'll back whatever you want." She breathed for a long moment, eyes on the monitor's heartbeat line. "Let's try without a little longer," she said finally. "If it gets worse, I want it." "Good plan," Collins said. "We'll reassess in 20 minutes." The intercom light blinked once, a voice low and close. "Basement secured. No movement in corridor C. Door sweeps clean." "Copy," Collins said. "Stay posted. Silent guard only." The room settled into a rhythm. Harper breathing, Lorenzo counting, monitors ticking. Collins moving between screens and checks with a speed that never felt rushed. It was the opposite of chaos. It was a team. The detector still lay on the tray by the bed, its screen dark now. The vent looked innocent. The blink was gone. That did not make it safe. Harper shifted again, face pinched. She grabbed for Lorenzo. "It's different," she said through her teeth. "Lower, stronger." "Pressure," Collins said. "Normal at this stage. When you feel like bearing down, tell me. Don't push until I say." Harper nodded. Another contraction slammed through her. She growled, low in her throat, and breathed around the urge to push. Lorenzo held her up with one arm across her shoulders, anchoring her. He spoke her name into her hair and told her she was strong. She believed him because she needed to. The intercom blinked again. The guard's voice dropped further. "We've got faint interference on Corridor C cameras. Like a loop attempt, not ours." Collins's eyes cut to Lorenzo. "They're near." "How near?" he asked. "Close enough to try," she said. The detector on the tray chirped once. A tiny green dot lit up in the corner of the screen. The light in the ceiling vent gave a soft, almost invisible pulse, then steadied. Harper's breath hitched. Lorenzo squeezed her hand and looked up. A new blink. Not random. Regular. Someone had eyes. Someone was watching this room in real time. Collins moved to the wall and flipped a switch that locked the suite doors with a heavy magnetic thud. She pulled a slim case from a cabinet and opened it to reveal a set of anti-surveillance tools, mirrors, a fiber optic scope, tamper tags. "Tasha, keep Harper focused. Lorenzo, don't touch the vent until I say." "Tell me what you need," he said. "I need you to keep her here and calm while I find the receiver," Collins said. "The device up there is dumb. It sends. Something down here listens. It's small, local, and probably planted in the last hour. Whoever put it is either still in this level or close enough to connect." A contraction took Harper before she could respond. She gripped his shirt and pulled him back to her. He went. He counted. He pressed her back. He told her when to breathe. He told her when it eased. He did not look away from her face until the wave passed. Only then did he look back at the ceiling. The monitor showed the baby's heartbeat, steady and strong in a room that had just changed. Collins crouched by the baseboards, moved the detector along the wall, and watched the signal strength climb. It peaked near the nurse's station desk. She reached behind it and found a tiny box the size of a matchbook stuck to the underside with putty. No markings, no light. A wire as thin as hair ran from it along the underside of the desk. She followed the wire to the back of the wall-mounted clock. Not a power source. A microphone shell. Someone had disguised a relay as part of the clock bracket. "Got you," she said under her breath. She snapped a photo and clipped the wire with a tool that looked like a pair of tweezers. The detector's dot went dark. The vent blink stopped. Lorenzo's phone buzzed twice. Sophia again. "Roof door at Harper's building opened again 10 minutes after you left. Same fob. Your super walked out with a toolbox and a bag. The bag looks like an HVAC kit. He met a second man in a black cap, leaving you a plate." Another text. A phrase came over a radio. "Basement clinic, private elevator." That language is too specific to guess. Someone from inside Collins's orbit is talking. Or someone bugged the right person. Collins held up the cut device with a pair of forceps. "We'll bag it and hand it to the right people after," she said. "For now it's dead." Harper let out a breath like she'd been holding it for an hour. It wasn't relief. It was anger without a place to go. "They were watching this," she said, disgust plain in her voice. "They were watching my labor." "They aren't anymore," Lorenzo said. He brushed damp hair from her forehead. "They won't get another second." Her eyes met his. "Then after the baby is born, we stop them. All of them." "We will," he said. He wasn't making a speech. He was setting a plan. Another contraction surged. Harper's face tightened. She breathed hard, and then panted the way Collins showed her. "Pressure," she ground out. "It's pushing on its own." Collins checked quickly and then straightened, voice firm. "You're at 8.5. We're close. You'll feel more pressure. Do not push until I tell you. Save your strength." Tasha adjusted the bed again. "You're doing beautifully," she said. "You're strong, Harper." Harper squeezed Lorenzo's hand. He glanced at the clock. Minutes had moved, and yet the world felt suspended in this room. Outside, engines and radios and men with gloves and lies kept moving pieces on a board. Inside, there was one job. Harper's gaze pinned Lorenzo. "After this, no more secrets." "No more secrets," he said. "And if someone in your circle did this," she added, words clipped, "you cut them out." "I will," he said. He didn't flinch. The intercom blinked again. The guard whispered, "Soft footsteps near corridor B. No eyes on them. Could be scrub coats. They're not ours." Colin's mouth thinned. "They'll try the wrong door first," she said. "Then they'll try this one." The magnetic lock hummed. The vent stayed dark. The monitor beeped steadily. Harper gripped the rail as another wave started to crest. "Look at me," Lorenzo said, leaning in until she could only see his eyes. "Right here. In, 2, 3, out, 2, 3. She did it. The contraction thundered and then slid back. She panted. She nodded. "Okay." He didn't move his hand from her back. He didn't move his eyes from her face. A soft, almost polite knock sounded on the outer door to the suite. Not loud, not frantic. 3 taps, a pause, 2 more. Collins didn't look up from Harper. She reached without turning and pressed a recessed switch that armed a silent alarm and lit a small red LED above the door. "No entry," she said quietly, "no matter what they say." The knock came again. This time a man's voice followed, calm and clinical. "Doctor." "Collins? Security. We need to check your filters. Air quality alert." There was no alert. There were no checks at 2:30 in the morning. Everyone in the room knew it. Harper's eyes found Lorenzo's. He squeezed her hand once, steady and sure, then turned his head just enough to listen for the next sound. On the other side of the locked door, someone slid a tool into the seam and scraped lightly, like they were testing for movement. Inside the room, the fetal monitor kept its pace. The clock ticked. Collins stepped to the base of the bed and braced her hands on the rails, her voice calm and firm. "Harper," she said, "if they come through, we move you to the secondary room and we deliver there. We can do this in either place. You trust me?" Harper nodded, breath shaking. "Yes." Another contraction started. Harper clenched down, body choosing the timing without asking permission. She locked eyes with Lorenzo and held on. Outside, the metal scraped again. And then, above them, buried in the ceiling, the tiny lens that should have stayed dark gave one more quiet blink. They didn't wait for whoever was at the door to show a badge. Collins triggered the secondary route. The wall behind the supply cabinet swung out on a hidden hinge, opening to a service corridor that smelled like fresh paint and alcohol wipes. "Go," Collins said. "Stretcher elevator. Van is ready." Tasha unplugged the monitor leads and switched Harper to a portable unit. Lorenzo lifted Harper with care and set her onto the gurney. She clutched his shirt as a contraction started to climb. "I've got you," he said into her hair. "In 2, 3, out 2, 3. They moved fast. The door to the suite rattled. A voice on the other side tried a different tone. "Dr. Collins, we can help." No one answered. Collins keyed a code. The service elevator opened. They rolled in. Doors shut. Silence fell like a curtain. On the loading dock, Sophia stood by a dark van with the back doors open and the engine running. She wore plain jeans and a windbreaker, helmet tucked under her arm, eyes sharp. "Route's clean for 20 minutes, she said, holding the door as Lorenzo and Tasha lifted Harper in. "Two tails fell off when I dumped city traffic into their path." "Thank you," Collins said. She climbed into the van and snapped on gloves. "I'll ride with them. Tasha, you drive the SUV behind us." Tasha nodded and jogged toward the armored SUV. Sophia caught Lorenzo's sleeve before he climbed in. The super's key fob opened the roof. "He left with an HVAC bag," she said low. "He met a man in a black cap. No clean face shot. But I ran the cap's walk through a gate model. He's clocked inside Marcello's crew, mid-level, not a freelancer." "Where's Franco?" Lorenzo asked. "Waiting for you at the lake house," she said. "He took a security car up 2 hours ago to prep." Lorenzo's eyes cooled. He wasn't told first. "He said he heard a whisper about a basement clinic," Sophia said. "He called me to confirm. I said nothing. He said he was heading north to secure the perimeter anyway." Lorenzo kept his face still. "We'll talk there." Sophia glanced into the van, saw Harper's pale focus, and softened. "You're strong," she told her. "We'll keep them off you." Harper nodded once. Thank you. They pulled out in a two-car line, van first with Collins and Harper, SUV behind with Lorenzo and Sophia now at the wheel. City lights thinned, bridges rose and fell. The van's interior hummed with tires and monitor beeps. Harper's contractions stayed steady, 3 minutes apart, sometimes 2. She breathed. Lorenzo's count was constant. Pain score? Collins asked. 7, Harper said. Sometimes 8. We can place an epidural at the house, Collins said. An anesthetist is on call there. Your choice. I'll try to keep going, Harper said. Then a beat later, honest. But I want the option. You have it, Collins said. They cleared the tolls and pushed north on a road lined with trees. It was late enough that traffic was thin. Sophia ran lead for a stretch to check exits. She called back tight updates. At mile 40, Harper's face pinched. She made a low sound and clenched the rail. Lorenzo slid a hand under her back and pressed where he knew helped. Here? Yes, she hissed. Don't stop. He didn't. The wave passed. Sweat beaded her temple. He dabbed it with a cloth Collins handed him. Talk to me, Harper said, voice rough. Everything. Start now. He didn't pretend not to understand. He kept his palm steady and told the truth while the wheels carried them out of the city. 3 days before I filed, Franco brought me a folder, he said. Photos of you and me from angles that had to come from across the street. Names of shell companies that washed money for a team that had you on their board. And a warning. File and serve publicly by Friday, or they hit you by Monday. Not me. You. Harper blinked hard. Why would Franco be the messenger? He said he had a source in Marcello's office, Lorenzo said. He said the source liked money more than loyalty and sold him the list. He said we had one way to make you look like a bad target, make you look like a past target, ex-wife, no longer leverage. No longer a weapon. I believed it would move you out of a kill box. Did you check the shell companies? She asked. Did you verify the photos? I checked the companies, he said. They were dirty, but that didn't mean they were tied to a hit. I didn't have time to nail it down. I took the risk. I staged the cheating to make you run. She listened, jaw hard. Another contraction climbed. She squeezed his wrist, taking him with her through the wave. When it eased, she spoke without heat. You didn't take the risk. You made me pay it. He took it on the chin. Yes. You set my life on fire and called it a shield. Yes, he said again. Silence. The monitor ticked. The road hummed. He leaned closer. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm asking to fix it. With you, not around you. She stared at him, and he didn't look away. The next contraction gave her no time to answer. She bore down on the breathing Collins set, panting through the peak, shaking with the effort to ride it and not push. Lorenzo held steady, a brace, a voice. It ended. She let out a breath that shook. After the baby comes, she said, clear. We decide together how to end this. You don't make a move without me in the room. Agreed, he said. The van turned down a smaller road lined with dark pines. A gate opened to a gravel drive. A lake sat black and flat beyond the trees. The house was low and wide, glass and wood, lights minimal. 2 men Lorenzo trusted stood at the porch, Cal and Ruiz. No uniforms, no visible guns. Quiet. Franco stepped out from the side porch like he belonged there, hands in his coat pockets, expression calm. Mid-50s, sharp suit even at 3 in the morning. He gave Harper a polite nod, then looked at Lorenzo. Perimeter is set, he said. You're clear. Inside, Lorenzo said, flat. They moved Harper in. The main room had been converted. A birthing bed stood near the window. A table held supplies. A portable warmer glowed. The anesthetist, a woman in her 40s with a calm face, stood by a cart. I'm Dana, she said. If you want relief, we can do it now. Harper hesitated. She looked at Lorenzo. He didn't answer for her. He let her eyes make the choice. Not yet, she said, then added, but prepare. Understood, Dana said. They reconnected monitors. The baby's heartbeat filled the room again. Steady, strong. The sound changed the air. Lorenzo helped Harper shift to her left side. Collins checked dilation. 7.5, she said. You're steady. Back pressure? Worse, Harper said. We can try a warm compress, Collins said, and positions that take strain off your lower back. Harper nodded. Okay. While Tasha arranged towels and adjusted pillows, Sophia pulled Lorenzo toward the kitchen. Franco was waiting there, hands still in his pockets, studying the lake like it had answers. You left the city fast, Franco said. Smart. Lorenzo didn't trade pleasantries. How did you hear the phrase basement clinic? Franco lifted a shoulder. We maintain ears. Whose ears? The kind that keep you alive, Franco said. Then mild. What do you need me to do here? Stand still and listen, Lorenzo said. Franco smiled with no humor. You're tense. I understand. This is big. Sophia stepped between them like a line. We had a vent cam in Collins's ceiling, she said. Receiver buried in the nurse's station clock. That detail wasn't on any plan. Who handed that to Marcello? Franco's brows rose. You think I would compromise Collins? She patched 2 of our men without asking questions. She keeps you off paper. You told me to divorce or lose Harper, Lorenzo said. I told you the risk, Franco said. I delivered a file. I wanted you to choose survival. Whose file? Lorenzo asked. A contractor, Franco said. Does it matter? You're here. She's alive. It matters, Sophia said. Franco's gaze flitted toward the hall, quick and small. It was the only tell. Sophia saw it. Lorenzo saw it. Neither moved yet. Harper called for Lorenzo. He went back to her side. She gripped his hand. I feel sick, she said. Nausea is normal, Collins said, placing a basin near her chin. Breathe slow. A contraction rose and crashed. Harper shook and did not scream. She rode it like a wave that wouldn't end. When it eased, she sagged. Lorenzo pressed a cool cloth to her face. You're strong, he said. She gave him a ghost of a smile. I know. The room eased into a pattern again. Between waves, Harper and Lorenzo talked in short, clear sentences, the type they hadn't used in months. Did you pick any names? He asked quietly. She blinked. A few. Tell me. If it's a girl, I liked May, she said. After my grandmother, and Isla because it felt calm. He smiled. Small, real. If it's a boy? She hesitated, then let it out. Lucas, or Adrian. He nodded. I had 2 too. What? For a girl, Elena, he said. My mother's favorite aunt. For a boy, Nico, short, strong. She breathed those in like a small gift. We'll see who shows up. Another contraction cracked down. She crushed his fingers. He didn't move. Sophia stepped in, phone in hand, eyes on Lorenzo. Quick, she said. Outside. He looked at Harper. She nodded. Go. 1 minute. He stepped out to the hall with Sophia. She angled the screen so only he saw. An encrypted message scrolled across a dark app. Lake address confirmed. Clear perimeter until sunrise. The sender tag was a randomized string. The receiving device signature was not. It's Franco's phone, Sophia said. This ping came 10 minutes after we left the clinic. It left a repeater near the Triborough. He's sending location updates to someone. Lorenzo's jaw tightened. You sure? Device fingerprint matches his. Time match on his car's travel chip. He's the only one who left the city on that route at that time with that device, she said. And this, she swiped, shows he forwarded a photo of the clinic ramp to an unknown ID 2 hours ago. He didn't get that from me. Lorenzo's fist closed once, then opened. Harper cannot move again tonight, he said. We hold. We finish. We deal with him after the baby is safe. Sophia's eyes were like his. Or we take his phone now and cut the leak. If he realizes we know, he bolts or he acts, Lorenzo said. I want him where I can reach him until we're ready. She nodded. Then we shadow him. Do it, he said. Pull Cal. Don't let Franco step onto the porch alone." They went back in. Harper watched their faces. She knew something had shifted. "What?" she asked, voice tight with another wave rising. "Security adjustment," Lorenzo said, keeping it simple. "You're safe." She stared at him. "Are you sure?" "Yes," he said, because he would make it true. The contraction hit hard and low. Harper's breath broke. "Pressure," she said. "It's stronger." Collins checked her quickly and gave a decisive nod. 9, she said. "We're close. You did the heavy lift. If you want the epidural, it needs to be now. Otherwise we keep going and we deliver without it." Harper looked at Lorenzo. He didn't speak. He searched her eyes and waited. She found her answer. "No epidural," she said. "Let's finish." "Okay," Collins said. "When I tell you, you'll push. Not yet." Sophia hovered at the doorway, then moved away to take up a quiet post where she could see both the drive and Franco's shadow crossing the kitchen windows. Collins prepped the warmer. Tasha coached breathing. The anesthetist stood by, hands loosely folded, ready if things turned. Lorenzo slid behind Harper so she could brace against him. He anchored her shoulders and bent close to her ear. "I'm here," he said. "I'm not letting go." She set her jaw and nodded. "I know." The baby's heartbeat ticked strong. Collins's voice came low and clear. "With the next contraction, bear down. I'll count. Short pushes, chin to chest, eyes on one spot." Harper took a breath. The contraction rose. She pushed on Collins' count, face taut, tendons in her neck standing out, fingers digging into Lorenzo's forearm. Collins watched. Steady. Good. Again. Breathe. Again. Harper pushed until the world narrowed to effort and sound. They paused. Harper panted, eyes wet and blazing. Lorenzo pressed his forehead to hers for a second. "You are fire," he said. She almost laughed, breathless. "Don't get poetic." "Then you're strong," he said. "Stronger than all of them." The next wave came fast. She bore down again. Collins' tone sharpened. "Good descent. Again. You're close." Movement in the hall. Sophia's voice, low and tense, into her mic. Franco stepped onto the side porch. He's making a call. Lorenzo didn't turn his head. He stayed with Harper. Collins did not look up. The room held to its task. Harper sagged at the end of another push, shaking. "I can't," she said, a whisper that sounded like anger at herself. "You can," Lorenzo said, firm. "You already are." She closed her eyes and reset. The next contraction surged. She met it head on. Collins checked and nodded once. "Crowning soon," she said. "You'll feel burning." "That's normal. Small breaths, gentle pushes." Harper panted, tears streaking clean tracks through sweat. She locked on Lorenzo's eyes. He gave her every bit of calm he had ever learned to fake for other men, except this wasn't a performance. It was the only thing that mattered. Outside, Sophia moved along the shadows. She lifted her phone. The encrypted app pulsed again. ETA 5 minutes. Same thread, same device, same betrayal. She looked through the glass into the birthing room where her brother held the woman he had never stopped loving, and the mother of his child fought for each inch. Her jaw set. She typed one line to Lorenzo and hit send. The address just went out from Franco's phone. "They're coming here." Sophia's text hit Lorenzo's phone like a blade. "They're coming here." From Franco's phone. He didn't let Harper see the screen. He kept his voice level. "We're good. Focus on breathing." Collins looked up, reading him without words. "How much time?" 5 minutes, he said. She nodded once. "We can move to the secondary room if needed." Lorenzo leaned close to Harper. "I need 2 minutes with security." "Go," she said, breath rough. 2 minutes. He stepped into the hall. Sophia met him at the corner. "I traced the packet along repeaters. It's his device. He sent the lake address and the approach road." "Keep eyes on him," Lorenzo said. "If he heads for the road, stop him. If he takes a call, record it." Sophia's mouth was a hard line. "Copy." Franco walked in from the porch as if nothing had shifted. Perimeter's quiet, he said, mild. How's she doing? Strong, Lorenzo said. Don't leave the main room. Franco's smile flickered. I'm not the enemy, Lorenzo. You will not speak for me, Lorenzo said. Not again. Inside, Harper shifted and let a low sound escape. Collins checked quickly. 9.5, she said. Baby is almost here. I want to keep you in this room. Harper nodded, eyes on Lorenzo as he came back to her side. With me? Always. A soft knock at the front door. Cal called from the foyer. Deliveries? No one ordered anything, Sophia said, already moving to the side window. She looked down at the driveway. A white van idled near the steps. 2 people in pale scrubs stood outside with a sealed case. The scrubs were wrong for this hour and this place. Sophia spoke low to Cal. Hold them at the door. No entry. Cal opened the door on the chain. We're not accepting services. The woman in scrubs lifted a badge that could have been printed that afternoon. Home health, vital check. No. Cal closed the door. The knock came again, firmer, then silence. Lorenzo felt the rhythm of Harper's contraction change. Pressure? He asked. More, she said. Collins's voice was steady. You're ready soon. We wait one more breath. Then you push. In the kitchen, Franco's phone buzzed. He checked it with a small tilt of his wrist, then turned his body toward the porch. Sophia slid into his path. Stay inside. He lifted his hands. Easy. Of course. Give me your phone, she said. Franco's relaxed face didn't change. You don't want to start a fight here? I'm not asking, Sophia said. Franco's eyes went past her to Lorenzo. You're going to let her accuse me while your child is being born? Lorenzo didn't look away. Hand it over. Franco set his jaw and passed the phone. Sophia slipped it into a Faraday pouch and sealed it. Enjoy the quiet, she said. A minute later, 3 sharp raps hit the back door. Kitchen level, not the front. Ruiz moved to that hall and signaled to Sophia. 2 shadows outside, one crouched at the lock. Franco watched with a stillness that read like calculation. Sophia lowered her voice. This is a test. Next is a push. Harper gripped the rails, eyes on Lorenzo. If they get in, they won't, he said. You're safe. Now Collins raised the bed a few inches. Listen to me. With the next contraction, you push. 3 short pushes per wave. We are not moving. We finish here. Harper nodded, jaw set. The wave rose. She bore down. Collins counted. Tasha coached. Lorenzo braced Harper's shoulders. Again. Breathe. Again. Outside, wood splintered at the kitchen door frame. Ruiz shoved a wedge under the knob and clicked the secondary lock. They brought tools, he called. Sophia slid to the hall, checked angles, and returned to Lorenzo's shoulder. We have 5, maybe 6, she said. Masks. One has a medical bag. Harper went still. No, they don't get in, Lorenzo said. Franco stepped closer, voice low. You want this to end before it gets worse? There's a cleaner way. We trade. Marcello wants leverage. Give him the woman for 6 hours and you walk away with a truce. Let her deliver, then we negotiate a safe return. We've done worse to get peace. Lorenzo stared at him like he didn't know the man. Say that again. Franco spread his hands. It protects the child. We make it look like we had no choice. You sign a letter of intent. He backs off our roots. The heat falls. It's ugly, but it works. Harper heard every word. Color drained from her face. You would trade me, she said, voice steady with horror. Like I'm a crate. Franco's expression didn't change. I would end a war. Sophia moved first. Step back, she told Franco. Away from this door. Now. Franco held Lorenzo's eyes. You can take the hit for your choice, or you can end this tonight with a paper and a handoff. Your call. Lorenzo kept one hand on Harper's shoulder. He did not look at Franco. Leave the room. Franco's mouth twitched. We'll talk in 10 minutes, he said, and walked out. Harper's next contraction slammed in. She pushed because there was no space left not to. Tears slid into her hair. Don't let him, she gasped. He won't touch you, Lorenzo said. He is done. Collins's tone sharpened. Crowning, she said. Gentle. Slow. Harper, you control this. You're doing it. A window shattered down the hall. Ruiz shouted. Two men in scrub caps burst through the kitchen, knives in hand. Sophia fired once. One fell. The other ran for the hallway. Hold the line, Cal barked. No one passes this door. Harper panted, fighting the burn. Tasha coached her through short breaths. You're strong. You're right there. Franco's voice rose in the hall, sharp and urgent. Don't shoot. We need her alive. Lorenzo's eyes went cold. Sophia's too. That sentence told them everything. The next wave crested. Collins's voice cut clean. Harper, push. Harper bore down and roared. The sound was not pretty. It was the truth of effort. Lorenzo held her and counted and told her he was here, now and after. Heavy boots pounded down the back steps. Sirens wailed somewhere far, pulled by a silent alarm that finally propagated. The man in the hall lunged at Cal. Cal blocked, slammed him into the frame, and dropped him. Franco shouted, "Stand down," to men who didn't take orders from him, and that detail mattered. He had invited them. He wasn't leading them. Harper panted. Collins's eyes warmed. Head is out, she said. Small breaths. Almost there. A new voice cut through the hall. Marcello's second, Tony Vass, smooth and too polite. Lorenzo, we can talk. Bring me the woman and we end this before sunrise. Lorenzo didn't answer. He didn't give the man his voice. He gave it to Harper. Look at me, he said. You're almost there. Her eyes locked to his. He nodded once. Now. She pushed. Collins worked. Tasha moved like she had done this 100 times. The room contracted to the bed and the sound of effort and a heartbeat steady on a screen. Footsteps hit the threshold. Sophia fired a warning shot that chewed the wood an inch from a sleeve. Back away, she said, voice flat. Final push, Collins said. Harper, now. Harper gathered everything left and pushed. Release came like a drop over an edge. Collins caught the baby and cleared the airway in one motion, hands sure and steady. Silence. Harper's eyes went wide. Why? Wait, Collins said, calm but quick. She rubbed the baby's back. Come on. Nothing. A beat. Another. The silence grew teeth. Lorenzo's knuckles went chalk white on the rail. Please, he said to no one and everyone. Then a thin sound, small and indignant, broke the quiet. Another breath. A stronger cry. The room exhaled. Harper's face crumpled with relief. Lorenzo let out a sound he didn't know he could make and laughed once, broken. Collins lifted the baby enough for Harper to see. Perfect, she said. Strong. We're good. Let me... Harper reached weakly. Collins set the baby on her chest, skin to skin. Harper sobbed and laughed at the same time. Hi, she whispered. Hi, baby. Lorenzo pressed his forehead to theirs, breath shaking. Hi. In the hall, Marcello's man cursed. We're out of time, he called. Make the trade or we take her. Lorenzo lifted his head. His face was something else now. Soft where he looked at Harper and their child. Iron where he turned toward the door. Get Franco, he said to Sophia. She dragged Franco back by the elbow and shoved him into the doorway. Tell them, she said. Tell them what you promised. Franco's eyes slid to the baby and then back to Lorenzo. I did what had to be done. You sold us, Sophia said. I bought a ceasefire, Franco snapped. Use your head. Lorenzo stepped into Franco's space. You delivered a fake file. You sent addresses. You invited them to my door. You offered Harper like she was inventory. His voice didn't rise. It didn't need to. You're finished. Marcello's second laughed from the hall. Fight each other if you want. We'll finish for you. Sophia showed her phone, recording the call log and the last messages. Every capo has this now, she called. Franco handed Marcello our house on a platter. Any man who backs Franco backs a traitor. A murmur ran through the men in the hall. The grip on knives shifted. The certainty of the raid bled. Franco saw it too. His face sharpened. You think you can cut me out and walk away clean? I think we walk out with our child alive, Lorenzo said. And you walk out with a bag on your head if you're lucky. Franco lunged toward Harper, the only leverage left. Ruiz slammed him into the doorframe and zip-tied his wrists in one move. Franco spat and writhed. No one helped him. Marcello's second recalculated and made the only move he understood. Take the boss, then, he said to his men. Trade him. Leave the girl. Lorenzo looked at Harper and then at their child. I'll go, he told Harper, low and clear. I'll end it outside. Collins stays. Sophia stays. Cal and Ruiz stay. Harper shook her head, panic flaring. No, I won't be far, he said. I promise. I'll give them what they want that isn't you. She grabbed his shirt. Do not leave me alone with him in this house, she said, eyes slicing to Franco. Sophia tightened the ties. He's not going anywhere. Collins glanced at the baby and then at Lorenzo. We're stable, she said. You can step to the porch. 1 minute, no further. He nodded. He kissed Harper's forehead. He touched the baby's back with one finger. He walked to the door. Sophia flanked him. Cal and Ruiz closed in behind. Franco hissed in the corner like a broken pipe. The porch light hummed. The night was cold and still. Marcello's second stood at the edge of the steps with 4 men. He smiled like he had won something. Trade, he said. Your word, your accounts, your roots. Or the house burns. Lorenzo didn't give him time to savor it. I'll transfer the accounts, he said. I'll sign. You get my seat at the table for 72 hours. You step off my family. You never touch Harper. You never touch our child. You take Franco as your consolation prize. Marcello's second blinked. Franco, your man inside, Lorenzo said. He fed you a camera, a clinic, a house. He also sold your warehouse schedule to the feds 2 months ago. Sophia held up a file. Screenshots, dates, numbers. His face shifted. So did 3 of his men's. You can have what he knows, Lorenzo said. Or you can keep trying the door while my men call every number on that list and tell them your leak wears your colors. Silence stretched. The men behind Marcello's second looked at each other. The math out here was no longer simple. Inside, Harper held the baby and tried to hear through the walls. Her body shook with aftershocks. Tears wouldn't stop coming. She wasn't ashamed of them. She kissed the baby's damp hair and whispered, I'm your mother. I'm right here. Collins checked bleeding, checked vitals, checked the monitor. You're okay, she said. You did it. Harper looked at the doorway. He comes back, she said, half prayer, half command. Outside, Marcello's second made a new calculation. 72 hours, he said. Your signature and your money now. Franco walks with us. Lorenzo nodded. Done. Sophia opened a case and pulled out a tablet already loaded with accounts. Lorenzo authenticated and moved funds in clean blocks. He signed the letter of control. He kept his face calm and his voice even. He didn't bargain more time. He didn't waste seconds. He closed the tablet, looked the man in the eye, and said, Remember, family is off the board. Marcello's second took Franco by the arm. Franco snarled, You're dead without me. Sophia smiled without warmth. We'll test that theory. They dragged Franco down the steps. Engines started. Gravel crunched. The night pulled them away. Lorenzo stood on the porch for 1 breath, then 2, his hands still, his jaw tight. Then he turned back into the house and walked fast down the hall. Harper looked up as he entered. Relief hit so hard her face crumpled again. You came back. I don't leave you, he said, and meant it forever. He washed his hands and took the baby when Collins nodded. The small weight settled into his arms like it had always belonged there. He swallowed hard. His eyes went wet. Hey, he said, voice rough. I'm your father. Harper watched them, chest tight with something that hurt and healed at the same time. Is he okay? She, Collins said, smiling. Strong lungs, good color. Lorenzo laughed softly. She. Harper let out a breath that had been stuck since the silence. Hi, May, she said, trying the name on the air. Or Isla, or Elena. Lorenzo nodded. We'll choose together. Sophia stepped into the doorway, face pale with fury and relief. Franco's gone with them. We have 72 hours. Then it gets loud. Harper looked at Lorenzo. Then we use those hours. He nodded. We will. He handed the baby back to Harper and sat on the edge of the bed, close enough that their shoulders touched. He kept his hand on her leg. He looked at their daughter and saw the future land in his lap. From the porch, Ruiz called softly. We have headlights on the far road. Sophia pivoted. Friends or not? Not, he said. Lorenzo stood. He looked at Harper, then the baby, then the door. He spoke low, only for her. This isn't over. She met his eyes, fear there and something stronger. Then finish it. He nodded once and went to the hall. The baby settled on Harper's chest and sighed like a tiny person who had already done enough for one night. Harper kissed her head and lifted her eyes to the door, bracing for what came next. Who is coming now that the trade is done, and what will Lorenzo give up to end this for good? Headlights swept the trees and turned off. Engines went quiet. No doors opened. Whoever sat out there knew how to wait. Sophia leaned into her mic. Thermal shows 4 bodies in the second car, 2 in the first, no movement. Marcello's backup, Lorenzo said. Or someone else who read the address, Sophia said. We cut Franco's phone, but not before he blasted it. Collins finished her checks and covered Harper with a warm blanket. She's stable, she said. Baby too. The baby let out a small cry, then settled. Harper stroked a tiny shoulder. We can move to a real hospital now? Not yet, Collins said. We wait for a clear route. I want you 2 hours monitored before transport. Lorenzo scanned the room. We take them to the secondary room, he said. No windows. Collins nodded. Tasha and Ruiz rolled the portable warmer. Lorenzo lifted Harper and carried her, slow and careful, to the inner room. Harper clutched the baby and kept her face to his chest. She did not look at the doorway. She had seen enough doors tonight. Sophia and Cal reset positions. We play defense, Sophia said. No heroics. Agreed, Lorenzo said, but his eyes were not soft now. He had signed control away for 72 hours, enough to get them through the night, but it had not bought silence. It had bought time. Inside the inner room, Collins adjusted the monitor leads and checked Harper again. Bleeding is normal, she said. Uterus is firming. Baby's temp is good. She looked at Harper. How are you? Tired, Harper said, simple and true. Happy, angry. That tracks, Collins said. Lorenzo stood at the doorway, one shoulder against the frame. He couldn't sit. He couldn't leave. He watched the hall where he had stood with buried feelings for 8 months and finally admitted what mattered. Family, not titles. Truth, not moves. Sophia's voice came through the small intercom Collins had set between rooms. 2 figures on foot north side. Slow approach. Let them knock, Lorenzo said. No one opens. They did knock. Polite, measured. The same rhythm as the clinic, which made his neck go hot. A man's voice followed, one he didn't know. Delivery. Flowers. Cal laughed once, humorless. Try again. A minute later, 3 sharp clicks sounded on the front lock like someone testing. Then nothing. Inside, Harper watched Lorenzo more than the door. When you said you signed, what did you sign? A temporary handover, he said. Money, formal control, it buys distance. And after 72 hours? We take it back, he said. On paper or by force. But not before you and our daughter are safe. Harper searched his face. Did you mean it? Family first? Yes, he said. I'll prove it. How? She asked. By cutting out anyone who threatened you, he said. By stepping away from any operation that puts us on a collision course with a hospital, a clinic, a school, your street. By building clean businesses where I can, and putting trusted people between us and anything that is not clean. She watched him for a long second. Then after this, we sit with Collins and a lawyer and write it out. No more promises without plans. He nodded. Deal. The baby, still unnamed, rooted and fussed. Collins checked latch, showed Harper how to position, and stepped back. Harper tried, patient, stubborn, until the baby found what she wanted. Relief flashed on Harper's face. "She's hungry," Collins said, a small smile breaking through the steel. "That's good." In the hall, Sophia murmured, "They're pulling back, or they're repositioning." "Let them," Lorenzo said. "We hold." His phone vibrated in his pocket. Encrypted app. A number he had put in the ground a year ago. He almost ignored it. He glanced. The sender ID was an old federal contact who sent him warnings when cases heated up. "We have movement on Franco. Asset says he promised us a ledger in exchange for immunity. Asset also says Marcello knows. Expect fireworks in the next 24 hours. Keep your family indoors." Lorenzo's mouth went hard. He texted back, "Understood." He looked at Collins. "If we move them to a hospital, can we guarantee no one says her name?" "I can't guarantee anything public," Collins said. "Here I can." "Then we hold," he said. An hour passed in a rhythm of checks, changes, soft words, low light. The baby slept, then ate, then slept. Harper's color improved. She watched the doorway and never quite unclenched. Sophia came to the inner room with a quiet update. "The car's left. We're scanning plate readers down the road. They may try again at dawn. We should move at first light if we're moving." Harper looked at Lorenzo. "I don't want to run again." "You won't," he said. "We move only to a tighter place, or we stay and end it here." "How do we end it?" she asked. He didn't promise force. He promised strategy. "We use the recording," he said. "We show every capo that Franco fed both sides. We ask Marcello if he wants the feds at his door with Franco's ledger. We make peace cost him less than war." Harper nodded. "Do it with me in the room." "Yes." Collins finished another check. "You're stable," she said. "We can transfer later if needed." A low thump sounded against the outer wall. Not a knock, a warning. Sophia's head snapped up. "Back," she said into her mic. "Window, east side," Cal said. "They're testing the glass." Sophia moved fast. Lorenzo followed to the main room and looked out from behind a curtain. Two dark figures crouched by the east window, a third by the corner. Not Marcello's men. Different posture, different gear, smaller, faster. "Who?" Sophia asked. "Not Marcello," Lorenzo said. "The kind who sell to the highest bidder." Sophia's jaw set. Franco hired a second team as insurance. They came fast after that. A smoke canister skittered across the porch and hissed. Cal kicked it back and slammed the door. A small drone buzzed near the second-floor eave. Ruiz shot it with a pellet gun meant for cameras. It spun and dropped. "Harper?" Collins called from the inner room. "Hold," Lorenzo said. "We have it." The side door blew inward with a crack. Two masked men pushed through, one with a stun baton, one with a compact SMG he never should have been able to buy. Sophia dropped the first with a clean shot to the thigh and shoulder. Cal tackled the second and took the gun. Another man slid through the gap and met Ruiz's boot. He went down hard and didn't get up. "Three more outside," Sophia said. "They're not disciplined." "Scavengers," Lorenzo said. "Sloppy. Dangerous." He moved like a man who had trained to do this but had not done it since the day he signed divorce papers. He didn't leave the threshold of the inner hall. He didn't risk a stray round. He covered the doorway and called positions. Left, now right. Watch the porch bulkhead. The sloppy crew finally realized this wasn't a soft house and scrambled back. An engine roared, tires through gravel. The night swallowed them as fast as it had spit them out. Silence again. He listened for a long beat, then two. He looked at Sophia. She nodded, breathing hard. "Clear." He went back to the inner room. Harper's face was rigid with held fear. When she saw him, her shoulders dropped. "You're here. I'm here." She looked at the baby. "She slept through a war." "Good," he said. "She'll sleep through all of them. We'll make sure of it." Collins gave him a look. "I need you to sit down for 5 minutes and drink water, or you're going to crash." He almost smiled. He sat. He drank. He watched Harper breathe. At dawn, the lake lay flat and gray. Birds started up like nothing had happened. The world outside didn't care about ledgers or betrayals. Inside, they cared about one thing. Sophia came in with a plan on her phone. "We call a meeting in a neutral place," she said. "3 capos from our side, 3 from Marcello's, no soldiers. We show the recording. We place Franco at the center. We offer a restructuring. No family members tagged, no medical facilities on any list. We draw a clean line and put money on both sides of it." Harper listened, eyes clear. "And if they refuse?" "Then we cut them off from supply lines we still control," Sophia said. "We leak to Federal where it hurts Franco, not us. We make it too expensive to keep coming." Harper looked at Lorenzo. "And you step down." He met it head on. "I set a new structure and step back from any move that would put you or our daughter in a crosshair. I keep final say on family, not roots." She nodded, accepting the only answer that felt real. "Then do it. With me there." Collins arched an eyebrow. "You're not leaving this bed today." "I can sit in a chair and listen," Harper said. "I will decide about my life." Lorenzo took her hand. "You will." They set the meet for noon at an old warehouse office that sat empty and wired only to a generator. Sophia swept it. Cal set a clean line. Collins refused to allow a move until she had numbers she liked. By 11, she gave a tight nod. "Short trip, back here after, no detours." They transferred Harper to the SUV with the baby in a secured seat and Collins at her side. Sophia drove. Lorenzo rode shotgun. The route was back roads, no highway. They reached the office with no tails. Inside, a battered table waited. 3 chairs on each side. Paper cups. A recorder in the middle that no one pretended wasn't there. Marcello himself did not come. His second did, with 2 lieutenants and eyes that had not slept. He looked at Harper, then the baby seat, then Lorenzo. "This is not the room for children." "It is if you keep turning hospitals into targets," Harper said, voice steady. "Sit." He sat. Sophia pressed play. Franco's voice filled the small room. Promises to both sides, times, dates. The sentence about trading Harper for peace. Faces tightened. Not just Marcello's men, their own. "Here's the deal," Sophia said. "You take Franco off the board. We take the clinics, schools, and homes off every list. Forever. We stop the door games. You get your 72-hour control. After that, we build channels that don't run through families. You get money, we get quiet." Marcello's second looked at Lorenzo. "And you?" "I step back from anything that points at them," Lorenzo said. "I take the heat that belongs to me. I don't hide behind divorce papers again." "What if I want more?" Marcello's second asked. "Then you get the feds," Sophia said, and slid a folder across the table. Copies of Franco's ledger pages with dates tied to Marcello's accounts. "You think Franco gave you all of it?" "He kept enough to drown you." The man stared at the paper. Then he laughed once, short. "That snake." "Choose," Sophia said. "War with a snake on your lap or money without children on your paper." Silence. The baby made a small sound, a sigh. Harper reached down and touched her chest. Marcello's second nodded slowly. "Fine," he said. "The lines stand. The snake is yours to kill or deliver. We don't care which." "Write it," Harper said. They wrote it. They signed it. They recorded it. They made copies and sent them to 6 people who would spread them if a car didn't make it home. When it was done, Harper leaned back and closed her eyes. Tired didn't cover it. Relief didn't either. But it was something that had room to breathe. On the way back, the baby cried for the first time that day with real strength. Lorenzo looked over the seat at that tiny face and felt something in his chest set in the right place. They pulled into the lake house as clouds thickened. Rain started, soft and steady. Collins cleared Harper to rest in the main bedroom with the baby's bassinet an arm's reach away. Lorenzo stood at the window and watched water make lines down the glass. He turned when Harper said his name. "I meant it," she said. "No more secrets, no more deciding for me." "I hear you," he said. "I needed to learn it the worst way. I won't forget." She nodded. "Then we begin again." but not with promises, with a plan, papers, witnesses, a house that isn't a fortress. He smiled, small. Done. She looked at the bassinet and then back at him. She needs a name before the paperwork. He came and sat on the edge of the bed. Elena May Bennett Vitale? He asked, careful, offering everything in one line, both families, both names, both choices. Harper's mouth lifted. Yes. They said it together. Elena May. Sophia knocked softly and slipped in. One more thing, she said, eyes on Lorenzo. Your ledger's pinged again. The feds are moving on Franco's offshore accounts. He will run before the day ends. If we want to decide where he lands, it's now. Lorenzo looked at Harper and the baby. He looked at the door. He had made a promise about lines. He had signed away power for 72 hours. He felt the weight of both. I'm not leaving her, he said. Sophia nodded. Then we make the call from here. She laid a phone on the bed. One number glowed on the screen. An agent who had asked for Franco for years. The choice was simple and heavy. Harper reached for Lorenzo's hand. Together, she said. He picked up the phone. If they deliver Franco to the feds, what price will the underworld demand? And can a family survive the quiet that follows? They did not drive. They did not chase. They dialed. Sophia put the call on speaker. You've been asking for Franco Leone, she said to the federal voice. You'll find him in Marcello's custody by nightfall. You'll find his offshore ledger mirrored to a drive in a post office box on 84th. You will not find a clinic, a school, a woman, or a child on anything we do. You want Franco? Take him. You want us? Not today. The agent didn't gasp. He didn't thank them. He said, understood, and hung up. That was fine. Gratitude wasn't the point. By afternoon, word moved like heat on metal. Franco had tried to leave the city. He didn't make it to the airport. A car boxed him near a bridge. Unmarked sedans slid in from nowhere. It ended without sirens. It ended without a shot. Lorenzo stood by the crib while Elena slept and felt a thread he had held for 20 years go slack. He didn't know what he was without the pull of that wire. He decided he would learn. Collins discharged Harper to the house for another night. Hospital brings risk we don't need, she said. You're solid. You rest. I'll be down the hall. Harper ate soup on the bed and laughed because nothing had tasted that good in months. Lorenzo sat on the floor beside the bassinet like he'd never owned a chair. He stripped off his jacket and rolled up his sleeves and took his turn with Elena on his chest, small cheek pressed to his heartbeat. He didn't check his phone for a long time. When he did, it was to delete numbers. At dusk, rain stopped. The lake glassed over. Sophia stood with Lorenzo on the porch and watched the line where water met trees. Marcello will test the edges, she said. He'll want to see if the line holds when it costs him money. We hold it, Lorenzo said. Sophia studied his profile. You meant what you said about stepping back. I meant it, he said. I'll build what we can build clean. I'll keep the old life at a distance with people I trust. If it can't be done, I walk. You'll make enemies of friends, she said. I'm fine with fewer friends, he said. I'm not fine with Harper living in a hallway with a chair under her door. I'm not fine with Elena learning sirens before words. Sophia's mouth quirked. She'll learn Nana first. He laughed softly. She will. Inside, Harper sat with a legal pad and Collins at the foot of the bed. Practical steps, Harper said. Not slogans. Okay, Collins said. Number 1. Registered security for your residence that reports to a licensed firm, not to any family employee. Number 2. List of no-go locations written into the truce with penalties. Number 3. Trust set up for Elena with clean money only. Audited by a firm that would rather burn you than bend. Harper wrote it all. Number 4. Exit plan if the line breaks. Where we go. Who we call. Collins nodded. Number 5. Therapy. Both of you. Separate and together. Crisis builds walls you don't see. Harper looked up. Yes. Lorenzo walked in and leaned in the doorway, hearing that last word. He nodded. Yes. No pride, no dodge. They wrote more. They put names next to actions. They called a lawyer who had papers started by midnight. They put a lockbox list on the fridge like parents, not criminals. Pediatricians, emergency contacts, Collins's direct number, Sophia's, the neighbor who would pick up packages, the code words for family only. It felt ordinary. It felt radical. In the early hours, Elena woke and cried. Lorenzo was up before Harper swung her legs off the bed. "I've got her," he said. He did. He changed a diaper like a man who had read every instruction sheet twice. He brought Elena to Harper and watched awe replace the last layer of fear in Harper's eyes. "Stay," Harper said when Elena drifted back to sleep between them. "Don't go back to your room." "I'm not leaving," he said. He lay on top of the covers with his hand on Elena's back, his arm touching Harper's. The three of them made a shape he hadn't known could fit. Morning came with quiet. No engines, no knocks. No radio words that made blood run cold. Sophia came in with coffee and a small smile. "The feds picked up Franco at 1:14 a.m. They have his ledger. Marcello's second sent a message at 1:32. The snake is gone. The line stands." Harper closed her eyes for a second and let that sentence land. Relief didn't erase anything. It gave them room to do the work. Lorenzo poured coffee for Harper and added too much milk. She smiled and fixed it and drank. "Thank you." "Always," he said. They named their daughter officially by noon, Elena May Bennett Vitale. They signed the certificate. Lorenzo's hand shook a little when he put ink on the line next to father. He didn't hide it. The lawyer came with papers, a restructuring plan, a family protection agreement written like a contract, not a hope, a list of assets to be sold fast, a list to be cleaned and kept. Harper read every word like it was a scene she had to get right on the first take. Lorenzo did too. "Are we really doing this?" she asked. "We are," he said. "Say it out loud." "We choose us," she said, "every day." That afternoon they went outside for 5 minutes. Fresh air, no lake edge, no blind spots, just the porch with Sophia and Cal in sight. Elena slept in a wrap against Harper's chest. Lorenzo stood behind them with his hands on Harper's shoulders. He wasn't guarding. He was there. "Marry me again," he said, simple and raw. No speech, no show. On the record. With our daughter in the room. With witnesses who know what we've done wrong and what we're trying to do right. Harper turned her head and looked up at him. There was no sweep of music. No surprise. Just a decision. "Yes," she said. But not as an apology, as a plan, papers and counseling in a home that isn't a safe house. "Yes," he said. They chose a small civil ceremony in a judge's chamber 3 days later. Not because they were hiding, because they wanted it plain. Sophia stood with them. Collins stood with them. Cal and Ruiz stood with them, awkward in jackets that didn't fit right. Elena slept through the vows. The judge looked at the three of them and cleared his throat. "You know what you're doing?" "Yes," Harper said. "Yes," Lorenzo said. They signed. Rings were simple bands. Lorenzo didn't make promises he couldn't keep. He made the ones that mattered. "I will tell you the truth even when it costs," he said. "I will choose our family over whatever comes to the door. I will let you decide with me." Harper said, "I will raise our daughter with you in a life we can explain to her without looking away. I will stand with you when you step back and when you choose better." They kissed, short and real. Cameras clicked because Sophia insisted on one photo for the mantle that was not a stage scene with flowers and lies. Back at the lake house, they ate cake off paper plates. Elena grimaced at a crumb on her lip. Everyone laughed. The first night as husband and wife again, they lay in bed with Elena between them and talked until they couldn't keep their eyes open. They did not solve everything. They put it on paper. They put it on calendars. They put it in the space between their hands. In the morning, a sealed envelope slid under the door with no footsteps to announce it. Sophia picked it up, brows knitting. She handed it to Lorenzo. The return address was a federal office. Inside, a copy of a case file number, a brief note with 3 lines. Leon, Franco, Cooperation agreement voided. Proceedings will be public. There was no threat attached. No deal. It meant a clean end for the man who had tried to turn them into currency. It meant testimony that would crack old bones in 3 boroughs. It meant fewer whispers at hospital doors. Harper read it and exhaled. I don't want to think about him again. You won't, Lorenzo said. They hung Elena's name on the wall above the bassinet. They set up a crib at Harper's apartment for 1 more month while papers cleared on a new place with light and locks that didn't feel like checkpoints. They made a list of ordinary things: pediatrician visits, night feeds, grocery runs, a rug that didn't snag, a chair by a window that looked at trees. Before they left the lake house, Harper stood in the main room where she had pushed their daughter into the world and looked at the doorway that had held men with masks and voices with orders. She gripped the rail and then let it go. Lorenzo came up behind her and slid his arms around her waist. We won't come back to this for the wrong reasons, he said. Next time is a picnic. She smiled, with a stroller and sunscreen, and a baby who throws cake. She laughed. Deal. They drove toward the city with Sophia in the lead, Collins behind, Cal and Ruiz running back routes they had always known and would use less and less. Traffic was ordinary. The sky was ordinary. The way Lorenzo reached across the console and found Harper's hand was ordinary in the way that saves lives. At a red light, Harper looked over. You really deleted numbers? I did, he said. I'll delete more. Keep one, she said. Mine. He didn't smile. He looked at her like the courthouse had never happened and like it had taught him everything. Always. They didn't promise the danger was over. They promised they would not let it sit at the table. They promised they would choose each other out loud where their daughter could hear it. Back home, Elena cried. They fed her. She slept. They fell onto a couch and did not move for an hour. The phone didn't ring. The door didn't knock. Harper turned her face toward Lorenzo. What will our family look like a year from now? He didn't paint pictures. He listed truths. Mornings with pancakes, a stroller that squeaks, a house we open to friends who use their real names, a job that doesn't ask you to lie, a life that doesn't need a safe word. She rested her head on his shoulder. Then we start today. They did. Ordinary days begin now, but can they hold the line when the world tests it again? And who will they be when quiet is no longer a luxury but a choice they make every morning? If you enjoy stories like this, take a moment to subscribe to the channel. That's how I'll know you truly liked it. Even if you're watching on your TV, grab a second to join this family of fans who love emotional and heartfelt stories. Your support means everything, and it helps us bring you even more tales like this one.